Well, good evening everyone, and today we're going to have a look inside video of this rather nice Panasonic, I don't remember the model number, let's look at the back, Panasonic RF-561C, AM, FM, AC, and AA battery powered radio from, I would say, the mid-70s. It's a little bit rounded. It hasn't quite picked up the late 70s kind of square chrome thing. Anyway, so I would say this is, right, we'll call it 1975, right? Yeah, I kind of saw this on eBay for a relatively reasonable price, and I kind of had to have it, even though white radios really aren't my thing at all. But this is just, I don't know, something about it I just really like. This is an extremely high quality case. I haven't seen the inside yet. Plastic's very thick, right? Metal accents. Handle, metal goes up and down with a screwed on plastic sort of trim piece on the bottom, right? You know, plastic coming through around the earphone jack. I mean, the controls are totally conventional. There is an AFC switch, which I like on these radios. Antenna, the top of it kind of picks up the shape of the radio, which is kind of neat. I like that. Anyway, as I said, white radios aren't really my thing, but I kind of had to have this one when I saw it. It uses a very fine power cord. And just a second, let me get that. I just want to show you that because that's kind of funny. Oh, apologies for not having planned that, but yeah, so this is like the plug is tiny on it, right? I mean, big CSA approval sticker, so it was obviously fine. The insulation's great on this, like most mid-70s. But then you look at the branding, and I don't know if you can see this. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. Kawasaki, right? Manufactured the cord. It's branded on this as well. Rated 50 watts, 125 volts. So it's certainly Kawasaki as well over there. I don't know if that's visible at all. There we go. You might be able to see it there. All right. 50 watt cord. I don't think that would meet current CSA standards, but, well, the cord's the fuse, right? But the fact that it's branded Kawasaki is really funny. But of course, we remember that all these Japanese firms are into all sorts of different kinds of businesses. And it's not surprising that a motorcycle manufacturer would also be doing some electronic stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I've done nothing with this radio except to wipe it off. Well, I still haven't figured out how to get into all these little circles here. And I did scrape. There was a very small amount of battery leakage on one of the terminals of this battery holder. The nice thing about it being an external one is you could clip this off and replace it with a new one. So you can see, you know, a few remnants of that in here. But that was it. It was sold as working on AC but not on battery, which, you know, led to the sort of obvious conclusion that the battery holder wasn't working. I'll just turn this on for you briefly. Oh, let's see, now I didn't do a very good job with this when I did it, so there we go.
Even if there's a slight breeze, we will canoe, we will camp, we'll croquet. Our trusty Subaru will see us through every rocky road.
What are we on? We're on AM.
And every rocky rock concert.
Tasting board, like a flight you get. No cost job postings.
And it does have a tone switch. High, low, position. Basically just a high cut. Anyway, not too much to talk about it. It's got a lot of gain. There's the amplifier in this has some What was that, about 3-inch speaker maybe, is loud. On AM, it's no DX radio. I haven't had a really good night. We've had some fairly cruddy DX conditions in Toronto the last little while, so I haven't really had a chance to try it on a good night, but I don't get the sense that this is a great DX radio. It's fine on FM, it's fine. FM may in fact be stronger than AM. AM's good, but it's essentially, you know, a local mid-range kind of AM radio is how I would class it. An FM. Interestingly, it does actually overload on FM sometimes here in Toronto. So for certain stations and certain places in the house, it's best to leave the antenna down. This isn't the only radio I've noticed that does this. Okay, so as I said, nothing wrong with it, nothing that obviously strikes me as needing to be changed. The band switch could use a spray with the old contact cleaner, which is ostensibly why I'm opening this up. Okay, so we'll take the battery thing out. It looks like there's a single screw here. We'll use an unnecessarily large screwdriver for that. That's a machine screw, interestingly enough. And there's a like a coin slot type deal there. I'm gonna just give it a little persuasion here. I think we got it open. Maybe I'll find a spudger just to help that out along here. There we go. So no spudger required because they included the slot like they would have with an earlier radio. So let's see what we have here. Okay, there's a connector for the antenna. And in fact, there are, okay, I'm going to go get a red pen here and mark this. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Someone considered serviceability when they manufactured this. I'll put the battery lid back on here. But look at that. The antenna comes off. And you know what? You can't screw up the battery polarity because they've used different, so female for red, which is presumably the positive side, and a male pin. And those just go right here. And that was the antenna there. So what do we see? We see a bunch of capacitors which are potentially problematic. This is supposed to be an IC radio, right? The branding on it is IC, which Panasonic liked for their stuff. The thing is entirely metal framed inside. Look at that. There's an entire metal frame holding the circuit board that's screwed onto the front here. And this must be the IC right here. That must be the IC. Very generous ferrite for not a huge radio. 8-ohm speaker here. The enclosed transformer. There's the switch to disconnect the batteries once it's in place. There are the two switches here. Volume tuning condenser. You can see they've been marked with a pen after each of them has been adjusted. That's probably the detector diode there. So, you know, it's simple. There are no discrete transistors in here at all that I can see. I mean, maybe there are. What are these? Are those transistors? I don't know what those are. They say 920R22, 920R22, 920Q17. I don't know what those are. They could be transistors. I don't see any. I have no idea what those are. I'm going to look that up, I think. Let's see if I can reach. I don't think I'm going to find anything by just throwing this into Google, but let's find out. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, so I have no idea what those components are. Ceramic packages. I mean, I can't imagine that there's an IC and no transistors on here, but that's got to be the IC. Can we see the number on that? It's glued to this. Let's see if we can. That just says KVI01, I think. That's it. That's all it says. I kind of want to look on the other side of the board, but I don't really dare take it apart. Do you think if I took these screws out? No, there's no way to do it without taking the transformer out. Okay, well, I will leave that as a mystery. If anyone knows what on earth these little things are, here, I'll zoom in so that you can see. Sorry, that was very fast. So here's one here, right over there, and that says, turn it a little, and so it says 920 Q17, I think. 920 Q17. Yeah, I'm not getting anything searching for that. But, it's just not a package I recognize. It's ceramic, it looks like. Huh, very interesting. Apart from that, there's ones, if you were to work on this, which I don't think I need, that, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 electrolytics. Everything else looks to be ceramic capacitors. Yeah. I think if you got the board out, I don't think this would be terribly difficult to work on, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, it's also one of these things that has been, it's got coils like a, over here. Sorry, I hadn't realized I was still zoomed in. It's got these coils like a, sort of like a Taiwanese radio that have been mucked around with to align it. So, really, the less touching you do, the better. Yeah, they've actually marked, maybe someone's been in here before. It sure doesn't look like it though. But every one of these little pen marks aligns with the screwdriver holes on each of these transformers. Huh. Anyway, maybe that's what they did at the factory. Anyway, so my goal in here mainly is to get at this, which I really couldn't before because it has a dust cover. Does this come off, or is that, no, that's the real switch. So I'm going to get at it from the side, I think. There, so I'll swing it over here so you can see. I'm going to try spraying it in here, though I will. Let's see. Can I do it with my left hand so that you can see what I'm doing? Maybe. And then we'll just give it. And we'll give it another go here. It's a very clicky switch, which is satisfying, but I think just like exudes quality, right? I mean, look at this metal. What's made today like that? And look at this. Look at how the ferrite is held in clamped down metal thing here with a little rubber. I mean, it's beautifully made. It's just, yeah. So I think these have to be transistors here. I don't see what else. They just, given where they are on the board, like there's ought to be transistors there. There's no way that this IC is doing everything. It's got to be there. They've got to be transistors. It's just not in a package that I recognize. So that would mean that there'd be one IC and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transistors. And you know, look, 6, 7. There's the output pair. There's the 2 transformers, right? So, and there's another one there, right? So there's a, that's probably, and those look like, those are germanium maybe? Germanium, I mean, maybe. So maybe the preamp and then the output amp, right? And a pair of 2 with a little heatsink thing on it. That seems to be pretty standard. Oh. So it's interesting, if I'm right and those are transistors, then there's this, you know, this, which looks quite old-fashioned, right? And then some sort of weird little package there for the rest of them. And so, I mean, so I don't know what that circuit would be doing. Anyway, that's all I wanted to get in, give this a good spray off. Spray, and so now we just need to put it back together and make sure it's still working. I'm going to have to give it a better try at AM, because that's that ferrite is pretty good. I wanted to show you something else that I just noticed here. We'll zoom in about how well this is made. So underneath the ferrite here, there's a grounding strap, a big thick old grounding strap going to this hole. This is right under here. Right there, sort of behind. See that? Yeah. That grounds the entire metal case to the you know, this entire metal chassis is then grounded to the circuit. It's fantastic. It's so well made. I'll give these switches a little spray while I'm at it. Over here, give those a little bit of a wiggle. They've not been a problem, but I think the soldering's nice on them. It's so well made. I'm so glad I bought this. And I always like a radio with an AFC switch. It's just so preferable to tune the FM before you turn the AFC on. Okay, so we've seen this. You won't be able to see, and I can't really think of a way of making it visible. But I'll just plug these 2 back in, snap it in place, put in our single screw, and you know, other little things. Look, there's a dust seal around both sides. And then the bottom, 2 clips, and then 1 screw into metal, machine screw, right? I'll use the screwdriver that actually fits this time. There we go. I will have to do a better job with the battery holder at some point, but so let's try this.
doctor and animation, prototyping services, and we use state technology. Alcohol.
Across Europe.
Okay. Oops.
TikTok or
Yeah. Back to airflow. There I am.
Vite et ça se mange. Bien souvent, c'est bon. Et prendre cette attention-là.
Anyway, there we go. The radio is, well, fixed. It wasn't really broken. This is not really a repair video, but I think my instincts on ordering this little Panasonic were correct. This is just, I mean, it's an extraordinarily well-built thing. I'd really be interested if anyone recognizes those, what I think are transistors on the board. They sure look like it to me. And I don't really think that this is, that in this period, we'll say 1975, we were into the radio on a chip era yet. We're into part of a radio on a chip. So that's my assumption. Yeah, beautifully made. Performance is more than adequate. And looking at the side, you know, almost full-length ferrite that's in there, you may have to take this outside and give it a chance as a distance radio. But yeah, for that, and then the bonus Kawasaki power cord. Really fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look inside the Panasonic. Let me remind myself of the number, RF-561C. I think there actually is a black version of this as well. It might have a slightly different model number, but if you didn't want the a little bit purse-like white one, but I'm fine with it. And you know, the quality is kind of unmatched, right? It was totally surprising, beautifully made. Okay, thanks very much. Good night.